everybody, it's Katina, and thank you for coming to the Ask a Clarinet Teacher session of YouTube live stream. So usually I like to have a topic so that we have something to talk about right away. But if you have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat bar so that I can see your questions and I can answer those. But let's start off today with talking about articulations. So I like to crowdsource whenever I teach. If you have any tips or tricks that you like for articulation, please go ahead and comment them. If you have anything that your teacher has told you that you found particularly helpful, go ahead and comment them. If you have found that you've gotten advice that did not work for you and that you would like to share that and talk about that, please do, because that happens a lot as well. So one of the first things that I'm going to talk about is the apparatus of using your tongue, right? You want to use the tip of your tongue to the tip of your reed, and that's something that we talk about all the time. But I think it needs a little bit of clarification for us because the tip of the reed is different for everybody. So you want to be as close right here to this area. And I actually have, if you can indulge me for 1 second, I have a bag of teaching, whoops, sorry, you got to see my closet. I have a bag of teaching materials, and in it, I have some, if I can find it, I have some markers that are grade markers. Hi Tyler, hi Taylor, hi Ashan. So these are food grade markers. I use them a lot for teaching. And I did a video on one of my Hinoki and another one of my YouTube videos about food grade markers and how you can use them. And I mainly use them for articulation exercises. So I have a reed here that I'm going to use. Oh, let's not use black. That's not fun. And if we use red, it'll look like we're bleeding on our reed. So that's disgusting. So let's use blue. So I'm going to get my clarinet together because I'm late today. And usually I have all those things ready to go before I start. But I'm going to show you where on the reed that you should be tonguing. And I'm going to use one of these food grade markers for that. And I have found that in my clarinet lessons, that is really helpful for people to get an idea of where it is. Now, you can use a regular marker if you want to. It's not going to kill you because we're not going to be doing a lot of it. So you can do this at home as well to find out where you're tonguing. It also, in addition to showing you where on the reed that you're hitting, it'll show you what part of your tongue you're using, which I find immensely helpful as well. So I'm going to put my mouthpiece on here. And I'm one of those people that puts my ligature on first, and then I put my reed on. Because, yes, I admit it, I have about almost 30 years of professional playing under my belt, and I break my reed sometimes putting my ligature on. So I'm going to mark this reed with where you should be hitting it with your tongue. So it's close to the tip, but it's not quite the tip. And so the reason why I think it's important to talk about this is that when we say tip of the tongue to tip of the reed, I have most definitely had students tonguing up here on top of the mouthpiece. Now, there are times I actually do that depending on the effect that I want, depending on how high I'm playing on the instrument. So let's try it out. Let's see how close to the right spot I am. Yep. So I should have a little bit of blue right there. And then you can see where it's bleeding a little bit. And that would be where I'm tonguing. So that helps students find that right spot for articulation, which is really, really important. And if you have something to aim for, it helps visually too. Now, what is also very fun is to put a little bit of flavoring there and have students taste the reed. So sometimes I'll have students that anchor tongue. And that means they put the tip of their tongue behind their bottom like that. They anchor it in there, and then they use the middle part of their tongue. And you definitely want to avoid doing that. So sometimes I will soak the reed in a little bit of Blade or Scope mouthwash or something and give it a flavor, and then I say taste the reed, and that helps people find where to use their tongue and on the reed. So I saw a question come up. What about the sticky note method? Ooh, tell me more about the sticky note, like a sticky note, like a Post-it note. I want to know more about that. I don't know that one. All right. When I tongue fast, I lose tone quality. Ooh, this is a great question for us. So one of the problems with tonguing fast is people have this tendency to think short, especially if you throw the word staccato in there. And in Virginia, when we do the chromatic scale, we slur up and we tongue down. And if you want to keep that beautiful sound when you articulate, think of, hi Jarrett, think of legato articulation. So in my mind, I'm doing a legato articulation. Very, very smooth and connected. Now speed it up. Now I haven't changed my articulation in my mind, right? But it sounds short because I'm going, and it's how we perceive the sound. And so the big thing with keeping that beautiful sound when you're articulating at a fast tempo is keeping the air moving, okay? And one of the ways that can help you with articulation is thinking of that legato articulations. A lot of times we think too short. And that'll slow us down. If you think legato, then you can move faster through that. So that'll help you get that air moving. The other advantage is that it'll keep your tongue very close to the reed when you think legato. When we think staccato, we pull our tongues back really, really far. Now, this is a tool to help you get to a place that you want to get to. So it's a good tool for helping you play faster articulations and prettier articulations. But obviously, as all tools are, you don't use them for everything. So the legato method of tonguing quickly, you're not going to necessarily use for other situations. Okay, I mainly need help when I switch from a low note or a mid-range note from a high note. So does that mean, Ashan, going down, or does that mean going up? So, and if I'm saying your name right, can you fix that so that I say your name the right way? Because I would like to get that right. So let's do what I think it is, which is starting high and going down, going over the break. Is that what you mean? So the more detail you can give me in the questions, that helps. Going over the break. Okay, so let's talk about that. So articulations, do you mean articulations going over the break or just going over the break? But that is something that people notice with articulations, is they are different when you're low as opposed to when you're high. And I have to actually adjust more than my tongue position and where I am. It's my air speed, how fast I'm moving that air through. Obviously, we need to be supporting, right? I don't want to stand on my chair and hurt myself, but you're going to push out with these abs, right? So I like to give the analogy of, if you know how, and I'm not going to finish it up, if you know how Harry Houdini died, go ahead and write it in the comment section now, and I'm not going to answer that. I'm going to come back to that analogy, but you want to push out with your abs, with that strength in the air, and that's going to help your articulations in the upper range. It really, really does. And so I find that I don't need as much articulation or as much power in my support in the low range as I do in the altissimo range. I can really feel those abdominal muscles there. And if you have been a friend of mine or a subscriber to the YouTube channel for a while, you will know that there was a big dip in my video production last year, about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And that was because I had 2 abdominal surgeries. So now, because I'm still working on building those muscles back up, I feel it much more when I'm doing support in there, because I don't have the muscles the same way that I once did. And you'll feel that support in there. Okay, so let's talk about going over the break. What do you like about the Riceworks bells and barrels? Oh my God, I'll talk about that in a second. Harry died of appendicitis, but how? There was something that triggered his appendicitis. And if you know what that is, then I'll be able to tell you the rest of my story. Awesome. Hello, Clayton. Hello, Art Lover. And hello, Elizabeth, everybody. Hi. And so, okay, so let's talk about the articulations going over the break. So we are below the break. Let's not drop the clarinet. Let's start on C. So here we are in C, and then we're going to go an octave higher. If any of you have played Sousa marches, you know what I'm talking about, because we don't have an octave key. We have a register key. So we are constantly doing octave leaps in Sousa marches, but we have to change all our fingers all the time. It's a big pain in the butt. Anyway, so we have C right here. And that is the articulation that we're going for, and we want to keep it beautiful. Okay, so once again, that is that support here, but let's think about, I like to think about my clarinet teaching as being a clarinet doctor, and you have a problem, and I'm going to write you a prescription for your problem. So if, let's go back to the other question about the beautiful articulations when you're playing shorter, let's try the prescription of more legato and seeing if that helps with listening. And the other one is listening to the end of the note. So let's do a prescription for getting beautiful sound over the break. And let's do this exercise. We're going to play a B flat right here. And then we're going to slur up to the B natural. And now let's go back to the B flat. Now let's add that articulation in. So once that's smooth and beautiful going up and down, let's add this. And then you'll tongue that B natural. So if you want me to write out an exercise for that, I can. I'm going to forget. Anybody that studies with me privately knows that I forget stuff. It's like my brain is a sieve. So you can either message me at my email address, csweetie@gmail.com, or you can message me on Instagram or the Facebook page. And I don't know if you can do it on YouTube anymore. You used to be able to, but when this video posts, you can put it in the comment section. I'll see it. So I would do the long tones up over the break. And then do another articulation in there and sort of spin that air through there. So yes, Jarrett, Harry Houdini was punched. So he used to do this thing where it's not weird. It's actually it's a sad story because he could escape from all these crazy boxes and chains and all this junk that he was doing as an illusionist. And then he had this thing that nobody could punch him out of him, right? So he would say that at his shows, like, nobody, hi Christina, can punch me hard enough to knock the wind out of me, right? So people would come up on stage and they would punch him in the abs, and he would just flex those muscles. And these are the muscles that we need to support with clarinet. So you want to flex those muscles. So go ahead right now and just put your hand on your belly and flex those muscles, right? You're going to bear down. Not to be too weird, if I'm going to be weird, ladies, those are the muscles you're going to need to get that baby out. And I learned that the real way too. Okay, so you're pressing down with these muscles here, and so that's what Harry Houdini would do to, so people could punch him and it wouldn't hurt him. And the two people, one guy punched him. He was in his trailer after a show, and these two guys came in and they punched him without warning him, which kind of is a terrible move to just go up and punch somebody in the stomach. And they did, and that ruptured his appendix. And that is how Harry Houdini died. And now you will not forget to support. So when your band director says support with your diaphragm, you could be like, sorry, that's an involuntary muscle and I can't control that one, but I can control my six pack. So that's what we're talking about when we support. And that took me forever to get to that place. Okay, how do you get, wait, I have a couple questions to go back to. So I'm gonna scroll back up. All right, so mainly need help when you switch from a low note to a mid note. That's a good one. Play pianissimo and altissimo register. Support, 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 support. If you guys were all in a master class with me right now, I would get one of those, if anybody's done karate or taekwondo, you know those wonderful belts that you get when you move up a level? They're fantastic. So I would grab one of those belts and I would put it right here, right? So you would stand there, I'm gonna put the belt there, and I'm going to hold it back here, and I'm going to start pulling it back as hard as I can, and then you push out. That's how you do your support. You want to push out, and it sort of feels like you're pushing down into your butt muscles on the chair, if we even have butt muscles, because I'm not sure we do. And that's how you play high, that's how you get that nice sound in the altissimo. It is very hard to get a nice sound in the altissimo, and the biggest part about getting a nice sound in the altissimo is noticing that you're not getting a nice sound in the altissimo. So, Noki, if you have noticed that you're not sounding nice up there, that is the first step. This is the hardest part to me. I'll work with people over and over again. I'll be like, oh my God, it sounds terrible. And you don't want to say it and hurt people's feelings, but then you're like, hey, let's work on this exercise. And they can't hear it, and I'll be like, hey, you need to listen better, listen, and just support. And then this is going to be counterintuitive. Play louder up there and then work on a diminuendo. Control your sound going down. don't get that grunt in the sound like I just did. So I would have to do that one again. And get that beautiful decay at the end. And if you can work on that, and I wouldn't start on high G like I just did. I'd start in C sharp, with a better articulation. And work on letting it decay naturally. The reason why I had the bad articulation in the C sharp, go ahead and put in the comments if you know why I had the bad articulation in the C sharp, because I've been talking about it the entire time. So that's how I would suggest that, and just practicing them. And I'm sorry for any dogs that live in your house with you. Okay, what do I like about the Rice Clarinet Works bells and barrel versus stock? Okay, so let's talk about the barrels first. The stock barrels, depending on which clarinet you buy, are not fantastic. So I have tried many barrels through the years to find ones that give my sound what I'm looking for. So I like a dark sound, but with a beautiful ping, like a nice ring in the sound. So I have had many barrels through the years. I actually have card catalog that's filled with, if you guys know what a card catalog is, but it has all these little drawers in it, and I have drawers filled with mouthpieces and drawers filled with barrels. So right now I'm using the Wes Rice Clarinet Works barrel because it was the one that got me closest to the sound that I want, the one that I like to have. And that's the big rule with all the equipment, with the mouthpieces, with the reeds, with the ligatures, with the clarinets, the barrels, the bells. You want that equipment to work for you to get you to the place that you want to be. So I liked the sound of it for me. And the bell, I've talked about the bell before. I used to think the bells were all kind of BS, and I thought that was dumb, and it was just a way for these clarinet makers to make an extra buck. I first saw them really with the Bakun bells, and I was like, whatever, I'm not gonna do any of that. And then I was trying out barrels, and Wes said, oh, you want to try some bells? And I tried the bells, and for me, it got me even closer to that sound that I liked, and I didn't think it would make a big difference, and it did. So I like it because, once again, it gave a little bit of that a little more of that core in the sound and a ring to it that I really like. And I actually can see and hear it when I do recording projects, because you can see the sound waves. Okay, poor Harry Houdini and his appendicitis. What's the walloping J? I don't know what that is, Eric. How do you get a less airy sound when playing? Okay, so this is a lot of things, and I'm going to try and go through it quickly. It could be your mouthpiece. It could be your reed. Most definitely it's related to your embouchure, depending on what kind of airiness we're talking about. So if we're talking about airiness, like air is escaping and you have a some of my videos, if you listen carefully, you will hear spots where I have air escaping. It drives me bananas, and it's something I've been working on for years. If you have an airy sound, though, that seems like it's kind of a spitty, stuffy, airy sound, I want you to check your reed and try some different reeds. And not just different reed strengths, but different reed companies. So I have found, for me, when I play Van Doren reeds, I tend to have a little bit airier of a sound than when I play D'Addario reeds. D'Addario reeds have a brighter sound for me, and it's just a cleaner sound. So, but everybody's different. Everybody's mouth and embouchure and reeds and mouthpieces, we're all different. So I would experiment with different reeds to get to the sound that you want. If you're finding that that's not working, definitely try some mouthpieces too, and see if that'll help. Double check your embouchure and make sure that before you even start all the reed and mouthpiece journeys that you're you're in good shape here with your embouchure too, because that'll help. Okay. Oh my gosh, you guys, this is like amazing. I've had so many good questions from you all today. Okay, is there a song you would recommend if it was for a clarinet feature over symphonic band? Oh, yes. Okay. So there is Victor's Tale. It's by John Williams. So anytime I get a chance to play anything by John Williams, I'm going to do it because I love him. And if you know that composer and what he's famous for, go ahead and put it in the comment bar. And I hope to see lots and lots of answers. So John Williams has a piece called Victor's Tale. And it's an arrangement that John Williams himself made for clarinet and piano, and clarinet and symphony, and clarinet and band. So that one's really, really fun to play, especially because it might be a generational thing. It's from a movie called The Terminal, and John Williams is the composer for that movie, and it's a great soundtrack. And so if you haven't seen that movie, it's a cute movie, but the clarinet playing is incredible in it, and it's worth it just to listen to the clarinet playing. That's a good one. Oh, you love Victor's Tale too, Mindy. It's so good, isn't it? It's a great movie. Tom Hanks. Okay, so another fun one to do with Contraband is Immer Kleiner. I've done it a bunch of times with Contraband, and when you play Immer Kleiner, you take off parts of your clarinet as you go. So you play the opening theme, it's beautiful, 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 and then you take your bell off, and then you play another theme, da, 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 and then you take your bottom joint off, and then you play another theme, and you take your you're left with your top joint, right? And then you take your top joint off, and you're playing. So you get basically 2 notes out for the clarinet and then the barrel, and then you take the barrel off. And so that's really fun to play. It's an audience pleaser. I like to pick pieces that audiences like. We can play concertina, we can play, you know, any of the Webers are all arranged for band, and they're fun, but I like playing ones that are fun for the audience, and Immer Kleiner is a great hit for the audience. Plus, if the other people in band don't know it, and you stand up there and you start playing, and then you take your bell off and you hand it to the principal clarinetist behind you, they're going to be like, what is happening? And then that's worth it too. It's a good April Fool's one, actually. Okay, do you ever learn the difference between filed? Is it filed or filled? Filed and, so filed I know, filled I don't know. I was the person that you asked last time. Oh my God, art level. Remember when I said earlier that my brain is like a sieve and everything just goes away? That was one, totally forgot. But filed and unfiled, I can tell you that. So that has to do with the cut of the reed. So there are French cut reeds, and then there are not French cut reeds. So filed has to do with this mark down here. And I don't know if I have any filed versus unfiled. So yeah, with the cut of the reed in the machine. Now I'm going to go back into my closet from hell. Let me see if I have reed samples here and I can find one. I'm trying to look for something other than a D'Addario reed, because those are the main ones I use, and I hate to open a box of reeds. Like, I have some packaged and I hate to open them, but it has to do with the cut. And remember when I was saying before, to answer that question about fuzzy sound, and you have to experiment with the reeds that you want, that would be one of your things where you would want to experiment with that too, to see versus filed, unfiled reeds. Okay, how can you be more in tune? I just made a video about this. I haven't released it yet. That's a beautiful one. Because we all have to play in tune with each other, right? And you have to go into band and you have to play in tune. So the biggest thing that I recommend with playing in tune is listening and blending. So going back to the altissimo question, and half the battle is noticing that you don't sound good, half the battle with tuning is noticing you're out of tune. It's different than when your band director says, hey, you're out of tune, you need to pull out or push in. That's somebody else telling you, right? You need to figure out whether or not you're in tune. And in all honesty, since you guys are all my friends, we're all among friends, it is hard for me sometimes to know if I'm sharp or if I'm flat, but I can kind of tell something's off and I'm out of tune. And that's because I'm trying to listen and blend, okay? So listening and blending is your first step. Try and get into that other person's sound. And so I would start with a tuner. Some great tuner apps out there. I recommend Tonal Energy. You can play the pitches and go ahead and play a concert D, and you need to listen to it first. So listen to that D, get it in your mind, okay? So listen to the E for us, get it in your mind, and then sing it, okay? Try and match that pitch and sing it. Okay, and once you feel like it's locked in, and for me, I'm one of those kinesthetic learners, so everything for me is about how things feel. So once it feels like it's in tune, then pick up your clarinet and try and play it. Now I've got that fuzzy sound because my reed's on wrong. Then you can adjust an E with your fingers. You can raise and lower the pitch that way. You can also raise and lower the pitch by pushing in and raising the pitch that way. So once, I need to get a Tonal Energy sponsor. So once you get that in, when you get that, when you're playing and you're making the adjustments, that's when I turn off the sound and I look at it on the tuner to see where I'm lying, where the pitch is. And then another one that helps me for intonation is knowing what my clarinet's tendencies are, like which notes tend to be sharp on my instrument, which notes tend to be flat on my instrument. And that helps me just by process of deduction. I'm using a little bit of my Sherlock Holmes in there going, okay, well, I know that I'm usually sharp on this E right here, so I'm going to lower it about. Or I'm very sharp on my A, so I'm going to bring my fingers close. I'm going to make sure my thumb is back here to keep that pitch from getting crazy. I'm going to back off on that note a little bit if I'm a little too flat so that I can blend better. So it's something that was hard-earned knowledge for me. I spent many years working on it. I go back and listen to old recordings from, you know, the 1990s when I was in college, and I'm so sharp compared to a piano because I just couldn't hear it. I also spent a lot of time with a piano, just playing the note on the piano and listening to it and trying to sing it, and then trying to play it with the clarinet. And if I couldn't figure out what it was, I would get my tuner out and try and blend and match it that way. Pro tip for this one, use your tuner though to make sure the piano's in tune, because it's sure it's a hellish experience when you're in tune with the tuner and then the piano is not, you know, at the same hertz that your tuner is at. So it's a lot of time, it's a lot of practice that seems like it's not productive, but it is. And in there you absolutely will. But the biggest one is hearing, blending, and use the tuner as a tool but not a crutch. Don't stick it up in your stand and think that, you know, it's my, you know, I'm lining up that needle, I'm in tune with every, you know, the tuner, everybody else be damned. That's a huge trap, and I see professionals doing that, so watch out for that one. Oh my gosh, you guys, I might have to tap the stop the questions. Okay. Sorry, you made me snort. Somebody saw my automaton. This is an automaton, and I played the Mozart Clarinet Concerto on it once, and but it doesn't have batteries, so I will have to play this another day. And it's hilarious, and it was really, really fun when my husband got it for me. So he's the king of the best presents ever, because he also got me a ball python once. Okay, you had I had a bad articulation because I didn't have enough air support. I would love to send some like prizes out for this stuff, but I'm afraid to send stuff in the mail now because, like, what if I have the coronavirus and I'm passing it along to everybody? Oh, this question, Art Lover, about picking a new mouthpiece, that's a really good one. Everybody that said Jurassic Park, Harry Potter, these are all John Williams movies, because I said, you know, what has he written? And he wrote Star Wars, and that moment in Jurassic Park when they show the dinosaurs for the first time, and I was in the movie theater, and it was the first time I had really seen CGI, and then John Williams' music came in there. I cried. I just wept like a baby. It was the best. Okay, mouthpieces. All right, my recommendation for the mouthpieces is to have a good embouchure first, and then have a bunch of reeds that you really like, and then go with your clarinet teacher to a music shop or a band director to a music shop. I did this one last time. Think about it as a hierarchy of needs. And now I know I'm saying to go to a place right now, which we really can't. So let's talk about the future when we can, right? So you're going to go with your teacher if you have one. If you don't have a teacher, go with your band director. And if you don't have anybody that'll go with you, maybe a friend that plays the clarinet will go with you, or a friend that you really like their sound, you really like their playing, you really trust their musicianship, they can go with you. And because you need to play it for another person. So make sure you play it for another person. And if you can't go somewhere, maybe some stores, I know some of the local places might be kind enough to let you take some mouthpieces with you. Sit down on them, right? But maybe they'll let you take it with you to your teacher's house for a lesson, or to your band program to play it for other people. So it's important to be able to play for people. But on a personal level, you want your mouthpiece to work for you. And this is what I listen for when I try a mouthpiece. Sound. Does it sound beautiful? Is it the sound that I want? Does it have the control that I want? Am I working really hard to get this mouthpiece to sound the way I want to? Because I don't want that. How are the articulations? Is it easy to articulate on it? Can I articulate it on quickly? Am I getting a little chirp in the articulations? Because that's a no-go. Just go ahead and shut that mouthpiece down. If you're getting any kind of chirp, it's unbalanced. And then intonation. You're going to need to play it with a tuner to make sure it's in tune. Pro tip here, there are different mouthpieces. Even though it's the same, it'll be a Van Doren Black Diamond, right? There'll be a European version and an American version, and the European version is tuned higher than the American version. So just be aware that mouthpieces in different countries have different tunings than they do here. Okay, what climber? I didn't quite catch it. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what I said. Did I say something about climbing? I was climbing on my chair. Can you repeat the tutorial of the Clairless Whisper and write out the notes? Oh my gosh. Joseph, are you the one that keeps asking me that? Because I haven't gotten it to it. I haven't gotten it to it yet. I can write out the notes. I can get you guys that because I write them out for me as a guide, so I can get that to you. I just haven't uploaded on a MuseScore. But do you want me to redo the whole tutorial on that? That's a lot. I can. It's just going to take me a while to get to it, but I'll definitely get the notes. Oh, wait, you want me to put the notes in the video? I can get you the PDF. I can get you a link to that. And you may find that you're going to have to ask me like 10 times, and I'm really sorry. Okay. I got it wrong last time, and thanks. I don't know what you got wrong. Immer Kleiner. Yeah, that's fun. Somebody's seconding Immer Kleiner because it's a blast. Yes, you were able to watch the stream again. Oh, good. Yeah, so you go ahead and put it in there. Okay, what clarinet do you use in this live video? Is it a buffet festival? It seems that have the inlay on the upper right joint. I've seen a lot of good clarinets use that type. All right, are you ready? I don't know. Can I get it up there? No, it's hard with the reflection. This is a Prestige. So it's a little different than the Festival. The Festival was more open blowing. I played a Festival for 20 years. It was my favorite clarinet. I like this Prestige too. And my Festival cracked. It was a bummer, and I got it pinned, and then I played it for a couple more years, and then it cracked again in the same spot. It has nothing to do with the instrument. It was me. The first crack was my fault because I would come home from playing a concert, and I'd put my case down by the front door, and there was a draft under the front door, and then there was a heater right next to it, and it was too many temperature fluctuations, and my clarinet cracked, and I do feel really bad about that. So my Festival, I loved it, and then when I went to buy another buffet, because I tried a bunch of clarinets, and I still liked the buffets. I like the sound I get from them. I'm not a fan of the intonation work I have to do. If I were to pick one for intonation, I'm going to go with Yamaha. But there's a ring in the sound that I like, and I tried a Tosca, I tried R13, I tried Toscas, R13s, Festivals, and Prestiges, and I think I tried 8 clarinets. I tried 8 clarinets, and this was the one I liked the best. So, but I do love the Festival. That's a great one. All right. The piece where you take the parts off, that's Immer Kleiner. Yep. And fold and filed. Fold and filed. I don't know what fold is. Filed. But I can tell you filed. The buffet C13, I don't know that one. I will look that one up. I know some of the other buffets, but I don't know that one. Whew! That was a long one, you guys. Thank you for asking me these amazing questions. I'm gonna stop now because I'm gonna go take a nap. I'm exhausted. But let's do this again. We'll do it every Friday while we're quarantined, because it's fun to get together and talk, and keep these great questions coming. Thank you so much. These are really, really, really good, and I hope that I was able to help even a little bit. All right, thank you, everybody. Bye. Wait, I turned it off this way. I can do this.